I do what I do because I love it. I love my job, but I love that it's a mix of both research and teaching, so I can be engaged in the discovery process, but I'm engaged in that process with students. Basically, I'm interested in stress and how animals cope with stress. Most of my work has been on the aquatic environment, both marine and freshwater environments. So I'm interested in how behavior changes, how physiology changes or how animal function changes, hormonal responses, and how the cells change in response to these variable stresses. I know in the cod aquaculture industry, they've got offshore cages in the natural environment, and they're looking to see the temperature range that the cod can withstand. So understanding how animals cope with these changes, cope with these dynamic changes that happen in our environment, I think could have application and implications for a lot of industry, so that others can perhaps see where this could lead and see the applications. And I think NBIF has been very instrumental in this within our province to try to make these connections with our universities, with NSERC, to sort of put together the scientists with industry to make these partnerships. Industry would like to have healthy animals. I think society wants to have healthy wildlife. We want sustainable fisheries. These things are an issue right now. So one of the things that I'm quite interested in and that runs through all my research is the ability of animals, including humans, to induce stress proteins. And these proteins get turned on or induced in our cells when we're experiencing various forms of stress. So they're actually called molecular chaperones. And that's indeed what they do. They chaperone the other proteins, your other cellular proteins, to make sure that they function properly during times of stress. So what we were able to do is to design markers for these stress proteins that will detect these proteins in salmonid fish. This was work we did a little while ago, and we successfully designed antibodies, and now I think we're the only group that has these fish-specific antibodies for these stress proteins. And these are salmonid specific, so they work very well in salmon and trout, but we know they also work in other fish species. So the federal government has recognized the importance of applied research for some time with the CFI, the Canadian Foundation for Innovation. And that has been a very valuable program in that it provides 40% of research funds, usually to applied research, infrastructure, and that sort of thing. And up until the inception of the NBIF, New Brunswick really didn't have a way to match these sorts of funds. And often, a lot of the funding agencies now are requiring these sorts of matches to the federal money. And the NBIF has been hugely important in that regard to help leverage funds so that big infrastructure projects can happen and to foster and fund this applied research. I do it because it's a real buzz, it's a real high. The sense of discovery within myself, I think, is something that I find really exciting.